the virus is released through washing machine powder, and only women do wash clothes. So
I can really imagine women being super angry about that. Hi and welcome to Movie Time. And today we have been watching this movie called Doghouse. And it was released 2009. And the director is called James West, if I don't mistaken, which I don't, because I looked it up before, so you don't have to look this up. It has around 7 main characters, which of course have less or more screen time than others, and also very few characteristics between them. But we can go more in detail of that if you want to. What do you think?
Yeah.
We could just make some small...
brief notes.
Yeah, like a brief comment about them. Okay, so we have this character called Neil to begin with. And he is this kind of womanizer. He sleeps with a lot of women. And he is really, the stereotypical guy who just hates women.
Yeah, he's a douchebag.
He's a douchebag,
He treats them like shit.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's pretty much his thing.
Character. Yeah,
he's a mean guy, and he doesn't really develop from that.
No.
Yeah. And then we have this other guy called Mikey. And the only thing with him is that he is black. And he's the reason... he's the one with the grandmother whose place they're going to stay at.
Yeah.
Because of the reason that we are coming to later during the plot. And then we have Graham.
Actually, his only characteristic in the whole movie is that he's gay, pretty much.
Yeah. I think they wanted some variation, so they created this gay guy.
Yeah, but sadly Graham is a bit bland because he's gay. But that's his only characteristic.
And also in his introduction movie, he still treats his gay partner as a talking down to a woman.
Yeah,
he does that, and he calls him a woman.
Maybe they want that similarity that it doesn't matter if you're married to a woman or a guy. It still is that friction between you.
Or they want to say that gay people are like women. That depends. It still feels a bit shallow because he doesn't have any useful skills or other traits or anything. The only thing you remember about him is that he's the gay guy.
I actually was surprised that they didn't use that typical gay guy thing. He's very sparkly, and makes talks a more of a girly style. But they didn't use that. He's like a regular guy. Yeah, in a way, I like that. Because just because you're gay doesn't mean that you're cartoonish.
Yeah. It's just that the others are kind of in a way that they're cartoonish. So he stands out in a way that he's kind of bland compared to the others. And so his deal is that he's gay, and you wouldn't even notice he's gay if they didn't tell it in the beginning.
And that's good.
Yeah, that's
more likely like that.
Yeah, I think so.
But then if we go to his partner, he was exactly like that.
Yeah,
he was this
stereotypical gay.
Yeah, he was a woman who complains and stuff.
Yeah.
Because all women complains, right?
Hey, nice not in the podcast today, so
that's where we can say things like this. Exactly. Who am I kidding? We would have said it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We're not afraid of each other.
No,
we're only afraid of Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have this other guy, the fourth guy called Matt, and Matt is this geek.
Yeah, he's like the comic book store owner or something.
Yeah, exactly. He is. He runs a comic book store, and it's there's not a lot of people within the store. He's lonely, and
And he keeps talking about how comic books are art and everything in the beginning. Exactly. So you really notice he's nerd for that.
Yeah,
stuff.
He's dedicated to this.
He's a big nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of stereotypical nerd.
And if you're a big nerd, what do you like?
Technology,
yes. Yeah. And you're also very good at it.
Yeah, and he shows that.
Exactly. Later in the movie, he that's his thing.
Yeah.
You could say that that's some sort of developmental character. I don't know. Perhaps a bit.
He is my favorite, at least.
Yeah.
In the movie.
I think he's my favorite too.
Yeah. And we have Vince. And Vince is kind of like the spider in the web here. He's the reason they go to this place.
If you would point to one main character, it would probably be Vince.
Yeah, exactly. And why do we say this about him?
Because he is the guy that is getting a divorce, and all the other guys are trying to cheer him up by going somewhere and getting shit-faced and hopefully pick up women.
Like good friends.
Right, the way it focuses on him, that's why he is probably the main character. Because it focuses on his divorce and how the other guys are gonna help him through it.
We never meet his wife or see him.
Just his photo.
Just the photo.
Yeah, only the photo, but we don't see him interacting with a woman, so we can see if he's being this douche as well or arguing.
They talk in the phone at the start very briefly.
But
that's true.
I also found him pretty bland. He didn't do much.
No. Of all the British guy, he's like the most British.
He was very British.
He's very British. It's hard to explain, but when you look at him, you'll understand. He's British.
Yeah.
You can really like see it in front of you. He eating fish and chips or something.
Typical. Go to the pub and watch football guy.
Exactly. Talk about Liverpool. Or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the reason why they decide to go to this place. What is this place called? It's called Moody. Moodley. Yeah. It's a fiction city, right?
I think
so. I have no idea about
so. I don't know. Otherwise, they're probably pissed.
It's a shithole city in Britain.
Our non-existing listeners can send us that.
If it exists, then it's a town that makes no sense because it's so small, and yet they have this advanced toy store and this thing where they sell like fantasy objects.
And they even had a surgeon in a big hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really small town.
Yeah, but they
have in the middle of the forest.
They have some pretty cool stuff for such a town with like 100 people living there.
And it's only like one way there, one road. It doesn't seem to have much variation. And the city in some ways seems very big when you drive through it or run through it and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's the thing. When you look at the map at the beginning, it looks like
really
it's
small.
Like 2 football fields, something.
Exactly.
But later, when they like drive around in it, then it seems freaking huge.
Yeah. And there are a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And a bit luxury, not like this typical rundown city.
Yeah, and it's not like the toy store is a big toy store, for example.
Very high-tech stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have the most exciting guy, Patrick.
Oh,
he's totally useless.
Well, he goes through the whole movie listening to some meditation recording voice that says to let go of its anxiety and fear and calm down.
Yeah, because in the introduction, when they introduce all the guys, they introduce this guy too, and of course he's arguing with his woman, but instead that he's arguing back, he puts on his headphones and starts listening to this stress release band, smile and everything.
Yeah, this soothing female voice that guides him and tells him to let go of his anxiety.
Yeah. And if we talk about bad characteristics, this is really bad because that's like the only thing he has.
Yeah.
He hardly says anything, and
that's why I said some characters are very cartoonish. This guy's probably the most cartoonish because that's such a stupid trait to have.
Who would listen to their headphones with these kind of meditation things when you're going to a pub or doing anything else with your friends?
Yeah. He never takes them out. Yeah. I mean, if you can't relax with your friends, then maybe you should
Yeah, when he's with his friends, he has it in one of his ears all the time.
Always listening to this. Okay, and if we want to talk about worthless characters, we have one called Banksy.
Yeah.
He's in the movie like 2 minutes.
I think he's only in the movie because of this joke. I think the joke is that
he is a joke more or less.
Yeah, because he is also introduced in the beginning, and they also get together and then in this van and drive to the city. But of course, this guy is clumsy and he forgets his key in his house and he gets locked out and he has some troubles throughout the day. That's the only thing that we see in the beginning. It's only like a few minutes, and then the rest of the movie is like just keep on going. And he will show up later, and we can talk about that in the spoiler section. But I think he's in the movie only for being a joke.
And also after the beginning, he was not very memorable.
No,
I actually forgot about him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing else that when he reappeared, I think all of us were like, "Oh, that guy was in the movie."
Exactly, that guy. So we never spent like a minute or so asking where did this guy go. We just forgot about him.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
We didn't care.
No, exactly.
That's not good.
Yeah, but even if we don't care, we still remember him and ask about him, but we didn't even do that.
If they had done it really well, we would have been interested.
They could have done like through some small cutbacks to him, like what he's doing now, and something ridiculous or something.
If I would have someone like Banksy, I think that he's wasted potential.
Yeah.
Because I think the idea they had with him was pretty good, but they didn't use it properly.
Exactly. It could be like a counterpart to each other, like they're running from zombies or whatever it is, and he is trying to find his keys or something.
Yeah, he could be fighting with the car mechanic about the...
I think they tried to do this in the beginning, but then they gave up. It felt like that.
Yeah, but they gave up rather quickly. Though.
Yeah, like after 2 segments or something.
It's pretty sad, because the things you saw about him, I think he was a pretty funny character, pretty promising.
He also looked very British.
Yeah, very.
And our last guy, who is introduced a bit later, is called Gavin, and he's the military.
We can't go in too much into him without spoiling.
No.
To be fair, the main plot is written on the back of the movie, so I don't know if it actually counts as spoiler.
No, it's not a spoiler, but we can get in more in detail of the plot.
Oh my god, it really is on the back here. Yeah, then it's not a problem.
Is it saying how it ends as well?
No, it doesn't.
Nah.
Yeah, doesn't matter. We can talk about him more later. But he's only there for being a plot device or for to give the viewer some information on what's going on.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. What is the plot?
Well, we basically said it with Vince's backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
And something that's pretty important to remember is in the beginning, when all the characters are introduced, you can see that all of them have partners. Their partners are real bitches.
Yeah. I wonder if the director wants to say something about this.
That's why I asked you about this review, if you think that this movie has like a deeper message.
And the deeper message is bitches be crazy.
Yeah, that seems to be the deeper message.
It would be fun to see if we were to Google something afterwards to see if he's divorced or something.
He has 3 failed marriages.
Yeah, exactly. And then he does this movie. It totally makes sense. That's his view on women.
So they get to this town where they're gonna stay at Mikey's grandma's house, but they can't find anyone in the town. It seems empty.
It seems very empty. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because there is some sort of virus that has been released that only affects women for some reason.
Yeah. That turns them into zombies, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it's Mike that is that's have the first encounter with one of the zombies.
Yeah, he does when he's at his grandma's house.
Yeah, he was trying to find the key to the grandma's house. Also, stupid plan from this guy. He was the one who was responsible for the guys to get a place to stay when they were out drinking and stuff. And his plan is to use his grandmother's house, which he has not asked if he could use, but only assumed that there would be a key under one of the gnomes, like many years ago.
And there was. But,
it was, but it's still a stupid assumption.
Yeah.
Why not just call her? I mean, she wouldn't be able to answer, but still. You could make a joke about that.
Yeah.
I tried to call her, but she didn't respond. Doesn't matter. And of course, so there is a zombie outbreak in this small town. And in the woods. Not sure about that, we never saw that.
Well, he just talks about it in the woods.
Long story short, all the women are man-hating zombies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the sexist reason, I guess, is that the virus is released through washing machine powder, and only women do wash clothes. So
I can really imagine women being super angry about that.
Yeah,
Can you imagine like a super feminist watching this movie?
I would pay money to see that.
Yeah.
This is not a politically correct movie.
No.
Not in any way.
And they make a movie about not being politically correct.
And it was even not politically correct when it was released. 2009. It would be even worse now.
10 years.
Yeah, but can you imagine after the Me Too incident and this movie would come out? Yeah. That would have been a bold move.
They do explain a bit with that Sergeant Gavin saying that this virus was some kind of biological weapon developed to specifically turn women into zombies, because that would be a biological weapon that could turn like half of an entire country against the other half.
Yeah, he said they could win wars without using armies.
So they wanted a civil war.
No, I mean, this was just an experiment. Then they could release this virus in other countries that they wanted to wipe out.
I think they pretty much fucked the village or town as an experiment.
Yeah, it suggested that's what it was.
So they're just willing to sacrifice every living human in a
and country. How they could be so sure that the virus wouldn't spread outside of the town, I'm not sure.
Well, they were. Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's a great plan, but that's what they.
So how is this a good plan if it spreads through the washing machine powder? Everyone needs to buy that exact washing machine powder. Yeah. How would they even control that? All the households get this.
Maybe only sell that. It was a very distant village, so if they only had one brand, I guess they would.
But this village is very high tech.
But there was someone involved, wasn't she? Like the mayor or something. They talked to briefly. Maybe.
Which was a really strange thing.
Yeah, they wouldn't even have to mention her. No, she had nothing to do with the story.
No.
And I thought that she was supposed to be some sort of like a token of information or something.
Or the overlord evil person.
Yeah, exactly, something.
So what happened more specifically is that they find the base of operations for where they spread this virus or something, and then actually get computer working, and they find this woman on the other side, and they recognize her from the campaign posters that she's the mayor or something. And she speaks as if she's the one that's more or less behind this experiment somehow. And then when she realized that they aren't the military, she cuts them off.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
You never hear her from her or see her again.
No.
At first, I actually thought they found some recording of her before she reacted to seeing them.
That would be even better.
She said, I haven't heard from you in 24 hours. So does that mean she's just been sitting in front of the screen for 24 hours doing nothing?
I guess so.
Yeah.
She's very dedicated.
Yeah.
It was kind of set up that they would kill or arrest her in the end or something, because she would be the main villain, but nothing.
Yeah, maybe that she would show up later.
Yeah, or show up or something, but no.
Something.
There was no point in her being there.
There was no villains, really. It was the zombies. That was what this movie was all about. But there was nothing more above that.
No, the villain
they really did not need her. They could have said it was a military experiment, period.
Yeah.
They didn't need to confuse it by involving a character like her.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because there wasn't a villain in that way. It was pretty much then the military as an organization who were the villains for spreading it.
Because that is one big problem with this movie. It is the amount of characters. Yeah. It's really unnecessary. When they first introduced all the characters, I thought, okay, this is a reason because they want to kill off some guys in the beginning, because they want some splasher scenes or something. But it never happens. It really takes a long time before the first guy dies. So there is 80% of the movie is these guys try to communicate and they fall into different situations, but they never die. So they're still alive, going around and doing stuff. And it's too much.
The thing is, it's 1 hour and 25 minutes long, and the first person who dies, it's 15 minutes left of the movie.
Exactly. And then they start killing off some guys, but it's not a lot.
After that, they die they drop like flies, but yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still 4 guys left, I think, in the end.
Yeah, because...
We think.
Yeah,
I think.
We thought one of them died, we actually survived, so 4 in it.
So, but... For me, that's still a lot of characters to keep so long in the movie.
They should have stuck with 4 characters instead of 7, because they could have had all the characteristics of the other guys that were extras.
Can the reason be that the director or the scriptwriter had so many ideas of what he wanted the zombies to do, so he couldn't really figure out how to make only a few people running around and experiencing all situations? So instead, he creates a lot of characters in different situations because they're divided up to 2 or 3 people at a time at different houses where they experience different types.
I think that's what he was going for. He wanted to create a movie where he could like separate characters into small group in different places and then show like how they are doing in different places.
But it was a bit too much.
It was a bit too much.
They could have, for example, removed Graham completely without much problem.
Yeah, and a few of the others as well. But I think it's just he wanted as many bitchy women as he could in the beginning, so he had to create partners for all of them.
That could be true also.
Yeah, but he can still kill them off early. I mean, he doesn't need them all throughout the movie. So I can find it okay for him to introduce 7 characters if he wants to, but remove some of them in the movie so you don't have to follow everyone because it's not that interesting because it's almost the same thing happened to every other guy. And then they try to communicate in different ways. And
the plot is not that deep. Nothing really happens. They just go from house to house, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
So that felt a bit boring.
And they're running back and forward. And and one thing I don't really get about the zombies is their level of awareness, or do they know that they're zombies? And also the amount of the IQ of them. How intelligent are they?
Yeah, because you could see they couldn't figure out that they could break a window to get to them, but they could figure out that they could cut down a damn billboard with an axe to get to a guy that was up there.
Me personally, I don't think that's a huge problem because this movie is obviously meant to be silly and goofy. So
but it's always a problem for me when they're not really clear on that, because if they're able to solve problems, like it was this big fat lady who were probably totally aware of that she wanted to sleep with one of the guys, so she even tied him up and made him a cake and sat next to him at the table. That's pretty normal. That's like a civil behavior. She wanted to eat his fingers and stuff.
That I can accept inconsistency if it's for the sake of an obvious comic relief.
Yeah, but then they could go to this window where all the people were behind, but they weren't able to break it. I mean, I don't know. I don't like that.
The zombies intelligence don't make sense, and then if that's a big problem for you, then.
And I reacted the phase 2 thing they talked about, where they were going into phase 2 of the virus, where they were gonna be smarter and faster. I didn't notice any difference in that at all.
They got a bit uglier.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only difference.
Also, can I say that given the nature of this movie, I think it would work better if they made the zombies really hot.
Yeah,
like in the vampire.
I was also thinking, what was the name of the vampire movie?
Lesbian
vampire kill.
Lesbian vampire kill. Yeah, because there the vampires are really hot, and I think something similar could have worked in this movie.
This is a guy movie.
This is a guy movie, so yes, they should have done that.
Some of them were funny, like the old lady who got a football in her head.
Yeah,
that zombie was funny.
I don't mean everyone, and that fatty that was.
I don't have any problem with the humor. I actually thought this was pretty entertaining, and they create some kind of jokes that are pretty good. And I actually think the delivery of the jokes are pretty good.
Yeah,
they're not cringe at all, like in the big ass spider movie.
No.
They were actually pretty good actors, I think.
I just feel like it's lazily done. It's nothing that stands out that much to me. It's just like it just goes on and on without nothing really good or bad happening. It's just very mellow.
It's silly jokes.
I feel they call this a horror comedy because they add the comedy so they don't have to be serious. So
you mean that perhaps he wanted to make like a really horror movie, but
I don't know if he wanted to do that, but to me it feels a bit lazy.
Something that I'm actually reminded of these movies, Scooby-Doo, where the monster find them, they're like, run away and hide. They hide for a bit, and then the monster find them again, run away a bit again. That's like the most of the movie.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. That's true.
It's Scooby-Doo.
And then they try to find ways to kill the zombies, but it's only a bit successful, and then they have to run again.
Yeah.
But they can easily outrun everyone, but they never do.
That's the thing in phase 2, though. In phase 2, they actually seem to be able to run. Yeah. In the last scene, they can actually run pretty fast.
Yeah, but in phase 1...
In phase 1, they are at walking speed, so the zombies aren't really a threat.
Why didn't the military guy mention phase 2, like, right away? Why didn't he just say, okay, we need to kill them in phase 1, otherwise we might experience them in phase 2 and they're more aggressive.
But he wanted them in phase 2, so he could use that sound.
I know, there was some
if
sort
you
of
want to be logical about this, then the military guy should have said, okay, we go to the bus, we use our weapons to kill all the zombies in there, because they're still in phase 1, they're not a threat, and we need to get out of here now before they enter phase 2.
But one thing I don't get, if this is a military operation, why do they send military men into this town to just get killed?
I was actually also wondering that...
Because there were a few military guys that were just killed. Like the guy that got shot in the head.
Was that a military guy?
Yeah, he had military overalls and a gun and stuff.
And the military guy said himself that he was there to kill the zombies.
Yeah.
So the military could easily just have bombed the whole town or something if that's what they wanted to
achieve. Or just like
walk
in with a SWAT team and take them out.
Yeah, I mean, they were phase 1 zombies. If they would have gone in with a few assault rifles, nothing would have stopped them.
Exactly. More snipers.
Yeah.
Just stand on a rooftop.
And he had a small little pistol with only one bullet left, so they only sent him in with a little pistol and a few bullets.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been that they've been shooting a lot of other zombies, I guess.
The thing is, I don't really see the corpus of them, especially
There
since
were
it's happening 24 hours.
Yeah, no corpus on the street when they arrive at all.
No, which it should have been if he was on a sort of killing spree.
Yeah.
So maybe he only had like one bullet.
But then again, they warned them about the woods because there were zombies in the woods. So maybe there were a lot of shooting in the woods that we just didn't see.
Yeah,
and it would actually make a bit more sense if they had showed that there were a lot of dead military guys. But it wasn't, so it seems they only sent in a very few guys.
And speak of the woods, didn't you feel like the woods was some sort of like an important place?
Yeah.
So when they got the information, stay out of the woods, it kind of feels like a horror thing where you move into the woods. You know, don't open that door, you open the door and you go in and you get killed or something. But they actually stay out of the woods. They don't go into the woods. They actually follow the information.
The sexist joke that they made later on, all the women, why are all the women going to the woods? Oh, it's because they were all going to the toilet at the same time. They have to shit somewhere.
If you want to analyze this movie a bit further, then the church was obviously based off operations for like this whole experiment. But it looked like it had been overrun by the zombies. So maybe the experiment went wrong somehow, and they realized they had created more zombies they could handle, and that's why the military that were in charge of the experiment decided they had to put them down instead. That could have been what happened.
I think we give them too much credit.
I think so. I mean, as I said, it's the wrong kind of move to analyze like that, but could have been.
They had some sort of nest. The women.
Yeah. It was underground, under the church.
Yeah.
The sewer system. So that was their food storage.
It seemed like it.
So they captured men and stored them in a nest, like some sort of.
Well, I don't think they kept them alive. I think they grabbed.
Yeah, but they kept that black guy alive.
Yeah, but they thought he was dead. We didn't see anyone else alive down there.
Don't you think that they missed a joke here, since he was gay, that they could have made like.
I was also thinking that
we recognize that you don't like men.
I also thought that
you don't. Yeah, exactly.
I also thought that they would leave him alive because we can sense that you're like one of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
I actually thought that at one point in the movie, since they were so clear in the beginning to point out that he was gay.
I thought they were going to do that when they turned the ladder and he fell to the ground. Yeah. There was a lot of zombies there. But they just like kept on going like.
To be fair, that scene was hilarious.
I mean, it was a weird scene.
I also had a thought that maybe he would turn into a zombie too.
I thought it was something like that.
Because they tried to trick. I don't know if they succeed to do that, right? They make this costume in a woman's store, so they look like women. 3 of the guys. Right. And it works, right?
It works.
It kind of works.
Yeah. And
we don't know why.
No, and let's enter the logic of thinking again. Why does it work? Is it their long hair? Is it the makeup? Is it the dress? Is it all of it?
I keep going back to Scooby-Doo, but that's exactly something Shaggy would have thought of also.
Yeah, exactly. That's a stupid idea. I would never ever think of that.
No.
Just because I didn't think it would work. But okay, so and then if we want to think about more of that, then we have this Patrick guy. He's the one with the headphones all the time. He has long hair, but he doesn't have the makeup and the dress. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing then.
But there also were women zombies with kind of short hair and one wearing surgery clothes and everything.
Yeah, so it can't be the clothes.
So, no, and not the hair.
I think it's the makeup then.
I think you're stretching here. I don't think it's meant to be any logic in it.
No,
I think it's just
a funny thing.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah,
I know that bothers you, but
yeah, well, I just need to think about that. So if we want to give that an answer, let's say it's a makeup.
Yeah, okay.
for logic's sake.
Exactly. I always want an answer. Okay, so let's talk about the effects. What do you think about the splasher effects, the killing effects, the makeup? What do you think?
I actually think the makeup on the zombies are pretty decent for a movie of this quality, so to say.
Do you think the budget was high on this movie?
Decent at least.
Yeah, decent.
There are a lot of good sceneries, I think.
Yeah, I think
lot
so
of
too.
the background is very good, and a lot of rooms where they're decorated and was really good.
I actually like the effects in this movie.
Yeah, and it seemed to have like a pretty big space working on.
Yeah.
To even though they were running kind of back and forth, they still have a lot of rooms.
And since it definitely was a real town it took place in, they at least evacuated a whole town to
perhaps
to play this movie, probably. So
the only comic effect was when the fat lady jumped from the roof onto the
actually
guy.
I thought it was really funny when Banksy showed up and saw them all bloody and stuff and said, "Oh, you won't believe the bad day I've had."
Yeah, but that's what I talked about before. But we can go back to that. I want to discuss the special effects a bit more. So what do you think about the makeup, for instance?
Yeah, it was decent.
Yeah. Do you think it matters for this movie because it's kind of a comedy horror thing, that it doesn't matter if the makeup or the splasher effects are good or bad?
It still matters.
I still think they would have gotten away with this without putting ugly makeup on the women.
You think so?
Well,
you just wanted some blood on the face, or what?
I'm still on the side that I wanted hot zombie women, but maybe that's just me.
But I had more problem with that in phase 2 when they got uglier. They were supposed to look more monstrous like zombies, but I think it looked more lame, the makeup.
Yeah, I think they should have kept the makeup at all for phase 2 and without makeup for phase 1.
Yeah.
And I like the trick filming that we're doing. For instance, when she chopped his head off, I think that was a pretty nice move. Maybe it's like a basic move, and move the camera in front of the head when it splashes. It gets separated, but I think it's very cool, and I think that's a very creative way of doing it.
And I reacted that it was not like in many of these movies where there came ridiculous amount of blood. When she
there was a lot of blood.
Yeah, but more like it would be for real. In some of these movies it really sprays out.
I know what you mean. It's not a splatter movie where it's like too much gore.
No,
there's gore, it's just not that bloody.
No, it's not that bad. It's okay, I think, in a manner. But okay, so what were you saying before I interrupted you?
Oh yeah, it was more about Banksy we talked about before.
Exactly.
The joke he came there for. He came, they were all bloody, the others, and he finally came and said, "Oh guys, you won't believe the bad day I've had."
Yeah. And that's also a thing. He didn't even notice them being bloody or even react to it.
He didn't notice any zombies either.
No, but he didn't react to it. I mean, if I saw my friend being bloody, I guess I would have asked him about it.
Yeah, but to be fair, these guys don't really react to any of the friends being killed off either.
No, I know that.
The only thing he reacted to was when he first came and thought it was a little bit weird that the town was empty. Other than that, he didn't seem surprised at all about the bloodiness or anything.
And he is the forgotten character Because, as I said before, I think they missed a joke there where they could just moved in between his story and the main story.
Spread him out more throughout the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think it could have been
instead
fun.
of like 2 minutes in the beginning and 1 minute in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Something just something so we don't forget about him.
Yeah,
I think that's important.
at least Gillette got a lot of free commercial from this movie.
And it was a discreet.
It was a discreet.
No, the only billboard in town, and they had to show it all the time.
And they showed it for a long time in some scenes.
Yeah, I guess they were a huge sponsor.
Yeah.
This was before the time Gillette got woke.
Yeah.
These days they would never sponsor this movie.
No. It's, in most zombie movies, there are no special zombies. They're just generic zombies everywhere. And here there were zombies with personality, which was kind of cool.
I also liked that. Like, it was this zombie that was a haircutter, and this one was a butcher, a bride, and
the witch.
The witch.
And
old ladies.
Yes.
And it seemed the individual zombies have different intelligence also in this movie.
Yeah.
They weren't all
just like real people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what do you think the movie is worth in a verdict?
I give it a 6.
Can you elaborate a bit why you gave it?
Well, it was not a good movie in the normal sense, not a masterpiece, but I expected it to be worse. I somewhat enjoyed it out to the end, so...
Well, this is meant to be a silly guy movie. You aren't supposed to analyze it thinking logically, like they get killed off and like next minute they run around and laugh as zombies are chasing them, stuff like that. So if you have a problem with that kind of stuff, you're not gonna like this movie. But I think that it was a bit boring towards the middle because felt nothing was happening, but it had some pretty funny jokes, and overall I kind of liked it. So I'll also give it 6 out of 10.
I felt it was decent, nothing too good or too bad in it. Just I felt it was a bit lazy from time to time, and the whole thing with them just running from house to house, it was kind of boring, I feel, and I also didn't like the ending. That was pretty unsatisfying because they basically end up, 4 of them are left standing, and they break the thing that controls the zombies, and all the zombies run after them, and then it ends. So we don't know if they survived or not, really, which kind of annoyed me as well.
The car broke down, so they probably did.
Yeah, they broke down the car, so they can't escape.
Yeah, that was the dumbest thing.
Yeah, they just ran over everything without any reason to do so.
Let's take a shortcut. We could take the road, but let's take a shortcut.
When the road is next to the shortcut.
Exactly.
And in the end, when they made that sound work, so they actually could stop the zombies, they started playing around with it.
Exactly.
Which was annoying as well. Kind of funny, but still annoying. I don't know. I give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay. For me, while I was watching this movie, I actually thought that I'm actually enjoying this movie, and maybe it will be hard to talk about later, just because it doesn't seem to be as bad as the one we have seen before. But the longer the movie kind of went on, and I started to lose interest. I didn't lose interest in the beginning or in the middle of the movie, but somewhere between or after, I thought it was kind of the same thing happening all over again, and I didn't really see the movie moving on or developing the story at all. So I kind of lost interest, and I started yawning and feeling a bit tired. And when the story did start to develop, it felt like the movie has been going on for like 2 hours and such, but it hadn't. So that is not a good sign when the movie feels longer than it is. But I like the actors. I think they were very good. The plot is not much to talk about. It's just a reason for them to get to this place. The zombies are good, and I had no problem following the story. And And I like the scenery as I told before. And if I want to compare them with other movies I have seen, I gotta give this a pretty high score actually. So I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
Oh, damn!
Yeah,
that's very generous.
I'm not kidding around. Okay, so thank you for this time, and we'll watch another movie soon, and hopefully it's worse.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.